A reading from the Gospel of Mark. Now John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting, and people came to Jesus and said to him, "Why do John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus said to them, "The wedding guests cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them, can they? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. And the days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast on that day. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth onto an old cloak, otherwise the patch pulls away from it, and the new from the old, and a worse tear is made. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wine will burst the skins, and wine is lost, and so are the skins. But one puts new wine into fresh wineskins." Well, Jesus, in that famous passage about wineskins and new wineskins, is making a point about what it's like to create a change in culture in a way that keeps both the organism and the new life coming to birth in it all intact. But I want to back up to the first part of today's pericope, or today's assigned reading, and to just dwell on that image Jesus gives us about fasting. When's the right time for fasting? And this story reminded me in such a powerful way today as I sat down to record this sermon that one of the last hours of my own father's life, when we were in a hospital room and he was really quite sick and we knew he wasn't likely to recover, and we knew we were in final days, if not hours, and he was still eating though, and he offered a cookie to me, or a half of a cookie that my brother had brought him to the hospital. And he held up that cookie and said, "Would you like half of this?" And he broke it in half and extended it to me. And I said to him, I'm actually trying to watch my carbs. And then just a few hours later, my father died. While I had the privilege of being at that bedside, but it was heartbreaking to me that my father's final act of wanting to share with me, and I still think of that cookie that was about the size of a large communion wafer, a priest wafer, and him breaking it in half, and the regret I have held since that time. I'm not losing sleep about it, but when I think about it, I'm sad because it wasn't the right time for me to be watching my carbs. The carbs in that half of a cookie, I'm here to tell you, would not have made a difference in my waistline today, but it definitely was a matter of me holding on to, in a sort of a thoughtless way, not really thinking it through and thinking, well, I'm trying to have a better discipline and I'm trying to do right by my health and so on and so forth, all good things. But I was somehow not awake to the moment of my father in what turned out to be his final hours, if not his final hour, offering me a half of a cookie. Oh, how I wish I had feasted while the bridegroom was still there, to use Jesus' language. So especially in this season of the new year and all of our wonderful first of the year resolutions, I have a few myself, that we might be reminded by Jesus to be attentive to our surroundings. And when we are fasting from something, or when we're attempting to, fasting is supposed to bring you closer to God, right? So Jesus says the context matters with our religious practices. And he goes on to talk about with the wineskin analogy, that as you and I are making our way through this year with our new habits and our better living and all of those good intentions, I hope we're doing it with an awareness of the context in which this is unfolding. I hope we're alive to the awareness of where we are and whom we're with and what's going on, and so that we don't get so narrowly focused on our practices that we don't sort of see what's right before us. So I like to believe that somewhere in the great, whatever the ongoing life is after this life, that I'll get a chance to debrief that with my dad. And I hope so. In any case, I'm not carrying any great burden, so don't worry about me. But if I had the moment back, I would absolutely take that cookie and feast with my father. So may you be aware and to your context and your circumstances, as Jesus encourages us to be. And may God be with you on this day, and God bless you and keep you this day and always. Amen.